I'm gonna cover the next two versions of Street Fighter 2 in this video, starting with Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition released the next year. The big addition here is that the 4 bosses were made playable, but there were some other tweaks. For one, both players can now be the same character. It's amazing how long it took for such a simple thing like mirror matches to be implemented properly in fighting games. This also adds an extra fight to the arcade playthrough. You now have to fight every character in the game, including the one you're playing as. There's been some cosmetic changes too. Character faces and their mugshots and endings have been changed slightly. The most notable one is Ryu, who now has a completely different expression. Speaking of Ryu, he and Ken now have some more slight differences. Ken's Hadouken is slower and his Tatsumaki Senpu Kyak is weaker, but his Shoryuken has been made stronger, plus other little tweaks. Everyone else has also been given various balancing tweaks, especially Guile. We also have changes to the stages. Suzaku Castle now takes place at night. This seems to be an unpopular opinion, but I prefer this over the World Warrior Sunset. I've said before, but I just think 16-bit games of this time really nailed nighttime stages. Ken's stage is now set later in the day. I don't really have any preference. Honda's bathhouse has a completely different colour scheme. In this case I preferred World Warrior's version. Chun-Li just has a different guy riding the bike in the background, never even noticed. Blanca's is also set slightly later in the day, I also have no preference. Zangief's has a different colour scheme, and I like it more than the original. Guile's stage is now set at sunset, which I think is a huge improvement, and Dalsim swaps out the reds for blues. It looks better, but the elephants aren't any quieter, so it can still fuck off. So now we can get to the Kings of Shadaloo, playable for the first time. Going in the order you fight them, so first is Balrog. One of the best heavyweight boxers in the world, he can't help himself when it comes to blowing all his money at once. Since Shadaloo is offering him easy money, he's on board. One notable thing about Balrog is that all 6 of his attack buttons make him punch, even the free kick buttons. He's got his dash straight with charge back forward and punch, dash upper with charge back forward and kick, and turn punch holding all 3 of either punch or kick and releasing. Balrog was a character I didn't really care about for the longest time. Compared to the other bosses, he just didn't seem as cool. He had the big boss, one of the best fighters in the world, Spanish ninja, and then he's just the big brute. He's basically the Street Fighter equivalent of Kano to me, the constant henchman, and if you've seen my Mortal Kombat video you know I'm not a Kano fan. I do like Balrog more than that though. I have however found him fun to play as. He's the charged character I enjoy most since his moves tend to be so quick and strong that they actually feel worth dealing with the charging. His normals are pretty strong too and that heavy punch has good range. He's actually the boss I had the most fun playing as. I like his stage too, it's very colourful and lively and fits a guy who constantly throws away his money. The only difference between this version and World Warrior is the colour scheme on the floor. I have no preference either way. He also has my favourite theme music of the bosses. Next we have Vega. He's a claw-wielding bullfighter ninja who wears a mask so his beloved face doesn't get injured. He wants to cleanse the world of all ugly people and yet he's on the same size as the likes of Bison with his Peter Griffin ballsack chin. In terms of moves, he has his backslash, a backwards roll by pressing back twice. He has his rolling crystal flash with charge back forward and punch, his flying Barcelona attack with charge down up and kick followed by punch when up close, and finally his Izuna drop with charge down up and kick then forward and punch when up close. Vega is the boss I enjoy playing as the least. Half of the specials being charged down ups has a lot to do with it, but I think those 2 moves even when I pull that part off just aren't very useful against the AI. When I was a kid I thought he was the coolest of the bosses, but nowadays he doesn't tend to enter my mind much at all. Nothing wrong with him, but there are other characters I like more. His stage is another one where the only difference between versions is colour. I like it. The fence on the back, the AI version can climb and hang on where he's temporarily invincible. Good music too. Third we have Cigar. He's treated well, going from final boss of the first game to being second to last before Bison in the second. After losing his title to Ryu in the first game and being left with a huge scar across his chest, an event that the Alpha games will add more to, Cigar simply wants revenge for his loss. He's the only boss that isn't a charge character, having his Tiger Shot with quarter circle forward and punch, ground Tiger Shot with quarter circle forward and kick, Tiger Uppercut with a forward Z input and Tiger Knee with quarter circle forward, up forward and kick. Cigar is my favourite of the bosses. He makes a perfect rival to Ryu, both being no nonsense the fight above all else types. But of course while Ryu takes his losses as an opportunity to improve, Cigar was at the top so long he's furious when he does lose. I will say I think he looks a little odd in this game though, like he isn't finished yet. I know he's supposed to be really tall, but he's also so thin that he looks awkwardly lanky to me here. His stage is a classic with the giant statue. I prefer the white colour to it from World Warrior to the yellow in this version though. He also has a good theme too. I think this original version of it might still be my favourite. Finally we have M. Bison, leader of Shadaloo and host of the tournament. He wields the mysterious Psycho power and is using the tournament as a front to kidnap powerful fighters and turn them into his brainwashed henchmen. He has his Psycho Crusher with charge back forward and punch, his double knee press with charge back forward and kick, and his head press with charge down up and kick, which can also be followed up with the somersault skull diver by pressing punch after the head press connects. Bison is a fun one to play as just for his Psycho Crusher utterly destroying the AI most of the time. After the shit the computer put me through, I feel no shame in spamming them until they give in. When it comes to him as a character, I like him, but in the realm of fighting game bosses, there are just many I like more. Even comparing only fighting games I've already done videos on, I prefer Shang Tsung, Geese Howard and Heihachi Mishima. Like Cigar, I feel he also looks off in this game. I know later games would retcon in a reason for him looking the way he does here, but he looks like a skinny guy wearing a muscle suit, but at the same time his clothes are way too baggy so everything just looks wrong. I think it takes a while for Bison's design to look right in game. His stage and music are alright, neither really scream final boss to me though. I think the World Warrior version at daytime looks way better than Champion Edition's nighttime version. I don't like the blue use of the sky, the first thing that comes to mind is the Dark Castle title screen. Then I just had to do a further 12 arcade playthroughs. This was a bigger pain, not just because of there being one extra fight to do now, but because of the AI bastards. Ryu, Ken and Guile are still bastards, but this version of the game adds Blanca and Zangief to that list. Blanca I already complained about in the previous video, but I don't get why Zangief was so hard this time. But he could just grab me whenever he wanted and his crouching light kick seemed to have priority over everything. It made completing this game a bit more of a slog, but I still did it. That's 20 arcade playthroughs total now. The returning character endings are mostly the same but with some slightly redrawn graphics. Ken is made to look creepy in a different way than in World Warrior for example. The bosses get the same ending screen, their mugshots with the character you played as on top, a cyborg army at the bottom and a text scroll. Balrog simply celebrates his victory, having grown up believing strength trumps all. This also reinforces the American dream to children. Not sure what this has to do with the cyborg army down there or why they shaded his face to look like he's crying. Vega believes that the world was created for the beautiful, so of course only he could win. Then he laughs over all the ugly people he killed. Cigar simply doesn't care for the title anymore. Like Ryu, only the fight matters. He knows that he has improved and overcome his previous defeat and now hopes Ryu will also do the same and continue to improve. Bison's army rises up and conquers the world, causing untold death and destruction. He then thanks you, the player, for allowing him to do this. Champion Edition just straight up replaces the original Street Fighter 2 in my eyes. The only downsides being a few changes in stage aesthetics I don't care for. The 4 extra characters more than make up for that. That's all I have to say about it though. It's Street Fighter 2, but better. But that's not all in this video. I didn't have enough to say about Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting, or Street Fighter 2 Turbo depending on region or platform, to justify a separate video, so I'm including it here. Released the same year, this version of the game balances things even more, adds new moves to characters and increases the game's speed a lot. Another minor thing is that every character now has a new default colour scheme, the originals are all still there as alternates though. Ryu and Ken got more differences in their move properties and both of them can now use the Tatsumaki Senpu kick in the air. Honda gains the Super Hyakan Otoshi with charge down up and kick. Chun-Li got the Kikoken with half circle forward and punch. Blanca gets vertical rolling with charge down up and kick. Zangief gained the quick lariat by pressing all 3 kick buttons together. Guile got nothing because he didn't need anything new. And Dalsim got the Yoga Teleport. You can use this in both directions depending on which direction you do a Z input and press all 3 punches or all 3 kicks. I pretty much never got this move to work. A Z input and 3 buttons at once? You're having a laugh. The bosses also didn't get anything new. The extra speed and new moves definitely made the game more enjoyable. It also made the AI bastards even bigger bastards. Zangief was no longer a nightmare, but Ryu, Ken, Guile and Blanca were still arseholes. This is where I gained my grudge against Blanca. Struggling in 6 playthroughs against him, I get to my Guile playthrough where I spent almost 2 hours stuck on Blanca. I struggled with him so long that by the time I reached Bison, I'd maxed the fight counter out at 99. That vertical roll just gave the AI another tool it can pull out of its arse to instantly destroy you. But aside from the usual AI issues, I get another 12 arcade playthroughs done. 32 playthroughs done now. The endings are unchanged, which surprised me because I was certain this was the game where the bosses got their own unique ending screens, but I was mistaken. Hyperfighting is even better than Champion Edition. I'm not one of those that can't go back to the slower speeds, but it is more fun to me with that extra speed. This is so short because I'm not a competitive fighting game player, especially not Street Fighter, so going into the minute details of exactly what changed would just be me reading out stuff I don't comprehend and it would show. I will say that I got more pissed off recording this version than I did with Champion Edition, but at the same time my victories were much more satisfying. But we've only passed the halfway point of Street Fighter 2's arcade iterations, we've still got 2 more videos to go on this game.